Okay, everybody, good morning and welcome to the Exertis and Samsung Galaxy Enterprise Edition webinar. My name is Mark Weston. I'm the Sales Director here at Exertis. And firstly, I'd like to start the session by thanking you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend this. I would also like to thank Samsung and the team for organising this session. And without further ado, I'd like to hand you over to Mutsar to give you an in-depth view of Samsung Enterprise Edition devices. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi guys, so my name is Mudassar Hussain. I am the Business Product Specialist for Samsung. So I cover all forms of mobiles and tablets, and also the wearables if needed to. So today I'll be going through the new Samsung Enterprise Edition 2.0, or the other name that we call it, the new Knox Suite. So we've got a great range of devices, starting from the A range to the flagship range. Also, when it comes to tablets, we have a rugged range and also the great Tab A and the flagship of the Tab S. So we've got great devices. We've got every specification to fit everybody's needs and everybody's price point, but it doesn't stop there. We go that extra step further. So now you probably would have heard of the Enterprise Edition previously, but we've now taken that to the drawing board and made it a lot more better and more appealing as well. But not only that, you now have more support than before from Samsung themselves. So let's start. So the contents we'll be going through today will be the challenge, Galaxy Enterprise Edition and how that can help, the key features and benefits, and then an overall summary to summarize the whole Enterprise Edition solution. So the main challenge is mobile phones are more critical than ever before for productivity. So a lot of people nowadays are using their phones for a lot more. They use it for work use, for personal use. If you're commuting from A to B, if you're on the train, you tend to pull out your laptop. Obviously, the laptop can be very big and bulky, and there may be a situation where if you're on the train, you may not have enough power. So people tend to pull out their phones because they have a device either for work use or for personal use, or even BYOD, so bring your own device, where they've got two entities separated on a single device. They may use the device to respond to emails, to look at 365 documents, PowerPoint, Excel sheets, but maybe also to amend a few things to send it across. They're using the mobile phone as an all-in-one solution. When in cases when it's not a phone, it could be a tablet. So a tablet acting as a two-in-one, so as your laptop, but also as a tablet or even as a phone as well. So when it comes to productivity, so 80% of employees can't do the jobs efficiently without a mobile phone. Now, this statistic was released in 2018. Obviously, now in 2020, that's going to 100% increase a lot more, especially with the current situation with the pandemic. But also 49.2% of adults just recently in April 2020 are working from home. So obviously the workforce is not completely full. Half the workforce is working from home. And obviously there's been a huge spike when it comes to the mobile industry, whether it comes to buying laptops. They've noticed a huge significant spike because people now want to adapt the remote working from home. And then in terms of security, so 70% of millennials openly admit breaching IT policies and using apps not sanctioned by the employee. So for example, you've got a work device you may have installed, maybe an entertainment app which you shouldn't have installed, which is made by a third-party source. But the problem with that is you don't know what permission you're giving the application to that device. Especially if you have a device which has a lot of sensitive information on there. You don't want it to open it to other security threats. And then 54% of cybersecurity incidents were caused by careless workers. Now, this can be implemented in terms of maybe they had a device which they did not implement any biometric security on the device. They might not put a PIN number on the device or a pattern. They may have left the device, if they're traveling from commuting on the train or a bus, on the train itself, realized, oh, I'm not actually put any security on the device. Again, it opens up to other people to access the device and gain sensitive information from your mobile or your tablet device. And then maintaining the large mobile fleet, it isn't easy. So 42% of IT departments can't deliver on current business demand due to staff shortages. So for example, if your IT admin has a certain task to do with a certain mobile fleet, correct procedures of building their first fleet has not gone according to plan, They come into the office on Monday, they have a scenario of, I've got a new batch of fleet of devices which are not behaving as they should. It's prolonging their existing rollout of their devices itself. When ideally what you want to do is you want the project to run from start to finish and as smoothly as possible with no interruptions. 29% of IT departments each day spend unplanned incidents from taking away valuable time. So as I just mentioned, you may have a job when it comes to first thing on Monday morning. Next minute, you know, a batch of devices aren't behaving as they should. And then 48% of UK businesses configure their IT infrastructure manually. Now, this can be very, very time consuming, especially if you've got a large batch of mobile devices, 1,000, 2,000, and your procedure is to set up one by one with your choice on MDM. It can be time consuming based on you going through the different setup screens, you're going through the Googles and the Samsung terms and conditions, then your biometrics, and by the time you're finished, 10 to 15 minutes have passed. So how can Galaxy Enterprise Edition help? So Enterprise Edition is, I'm sure you're all aware, unique to Samsung itself. So now we've integrated a package of mobile technology and services designed to protecting, managing your mobile fleet and making it a lot much easier. So as I mentioned before, we've got a great batch of mobile and tablet devices, but we want to go that added step further and to make it more easy for you to manage your device, but also enroll your device as well. So when it comes to Enterprise Edition, what key features will be a massive benefit? So as I mentioned before, we've got more choice. So we've got a great batch of devices when it comes to our portfolio. Greater control. So we're now implemented tools available to give you more control of the device itself. Increased reliability. So now with Samsung devices, you are getting a 3 enhanced support, which I'll break down further later on. And improved simplicity. So obviously with our mobile devices, we've made it a lot more better, a lot more simpler. So when it comes to our mobile phone range, we've now kept with a strict firmware. So I know in the past we have a different batch of mobiles, for example, A's and J's. They were great devices, but the issue was they had different firmwares on them. Some had Android 6, some had Android 7. So it was a bit of a challenge, especially when you have an MDM, which only works with a particular firmware. And then more value. So obviously with our Enterprise Edition device, you are getting a more value from that handset than you would from buying a normal handset. So this is a sort of like a use case study. So we've got a gentleman called Henry, who's powered by the Galaxy Enterprise Edition. So he's got those key features, for example, the more choice, greater control, more value, improved simplicity, and increased reliability. So when it comes to greater control, Henry scheduled the latest software updates, making sure that all the devices are up and running with the same operating system. He's able to delay the deployment to ensure the staff are uninterrupted by the business day. So what that means is they may have an application where it only works with, let's say, Android 9, but they're not too sure how it behaves with Android 10. But you want the notion of knowing that you can control your mobile fleet's firmware. So what that means is you can restrict other mobile fleet firmware to Android 9, but at the same time, you still push out security patches to make sure the device is fully secured. Going down the line, you can test out the new firmware of Android 10, see how it behaves with the new application they've designed from their company. Once it passes all checks, he can then roll out the rest of the firmware across the whole mobile fleet. But the great thing is he can time this. So increased reliability. So an employee drops off a faulty device, feels knowing that he's covered by the 3 years enhanced support from Samsung. So in the past, whenever you have an issue with a device, you call the point of contact who you got it from. Say, I've got an issue with my phone. Obviously, when it comes to business, that can take a lot of time out. You want a device ready to go. But when it comes to 3 years enhanced support, I will break it down further, how we can help, but while we've gone that extra step further. And then improve simplicity. So you got 150 new phones delivered directly to the Birmingham office. The great thing with Enterprise Edition, you don't necessarily have to have the devices sent to the IT admin. You can send them out to your employee direct. But the great thing is the IT admin can configure those remotely from where he is. And then more value. Henry's in a meeting with finance. So he's meeting with finance, has a certain budget to spend. The great thing is, when it comes to Samsung, you're all aware that we have every price point for everybody's needs. But the great thing is, now because we've revamped the A series, you're getting a more premium feel from an entry level and from a mid-range device. More choice. So Henry needs an order number of new devices to C-suite execs. So they may not want to go for any range. They may want to go for the flagship range when it comes to Samsung devices, i.e. the S10 range or the S20. The benefits of that is it comes with Samsung DeX. So as I mentioned, if the finance have a certain budget to spend, they're looking at a two-in-one solution. You could go back and say, right, we have the S20 range, which acts like a PC, but also as a mobile phone. So you can do your work from your phone on a big screen monitor connected to a keyboard and mouse. At the same time, use it as a normal mobile phone. So key features and benefits. So I'm going to break it down into more. So as an overall device, when you're buying a Samsung Galaxy Enterprise Edition device, the key elements you are getting with the device are the new Knox suite. So you can now configure and manage your mobile phone straight out of the box. You're getting 4-year security and maintenance releases. A lot of mobile phone manufacturers may offer 2 years. Extended product lifecycle. So we will support that device, i.e. you'll still be available from product launch for the next 2 years. And then 3 is enhanced support. But now we've added an extra step further with Knox setup. And then as mentioned, Galaxy Enterprise Edition devices. Our portfolio is ever expanding. We've now got our first tablet on the market, which is available in Enterprise Edition, which is the Tab Active Pro. So now when it comes to the Knox suite, in the past we offered the Knox Configure suite and ePhoto on MDM. But now when you purchase a Galaxy Enterprise Edition device with the new Knox suite, with that you are getting Knox Platform for Enterprise for a secure container. You are getting a Knox ePhoto, which is a new portal online that we've got. You're getting Knox Mobile Enrollment to enroll the devices. Also, you have the access to the Knox Service plugin. So it opens the device to all areas that you can create policies on. Now, the great thing is with the whole Knox suite, these elements that are available, you don't necessarily have to go for each one. You can choose which one will benefit your IT infrastructure. So for example, you may want to go down the Knox Managed suite because you want to manage the device, but also you want to use Android Enterprise on there as well. So you want to manage Play Store. But also the great thing is you do have the benefit of remote support. Now remote support may be a separate purchase, but when it comes to Knox Manage, you get it built in. So if a user is having issues, wherever they are with their device, mobile or tablet, the IT admin can remotely connect to that device in real time and see what the issue is. They can access the device's files and folders. They can even push out applications to the device itself. So you have a more control from the Knox Manage suite. But the great thing with Knox Manage, you're not restricted to just controlling Samsung devices. It's open to iOS and to Windows as well. Now, the good thing is, now obviously there will be certain limitations in terms of what policies you can do when it comes to iOS and Windows, but you can still manage that fleet from Knox Manage itself. Then as I mentioned, you get Knox ePhoto. So managing the device's firmware, you may want to restrict it all to Android 9, maybe not to upgrade to Android 10. You can do that with Knox ePhoto, but also you can implement what time you want the update to happen or how much megabytes of data you want to push out. Obviously, a lot of companies out there will have a certain data allowance limit. So you can say, actually, you know what, on day 1, I want 20 meg of the update to be pushed out at this certain time. So not affecting work hours. And then Knox Mobile Enrollment, so enrolling the devices in mass. So you may not be going down the route of using Knox Manage. You may be using Mass 360 or SOTI or AirWatch. But again, you still want to roll the devices in mass, but have that simplicity of knowing that you want to skip all those screens at the start and you want it to install your MDM of choice, and that's it. You want that process to be a lot more slicker. We have that option available for Knox Mobile Enrollment. And the Knox Platform for Enterprise, you may want a secure company container. Now, the great feature for this is, for example, who would be using a secure container? So let's say for the likes of the NHS, they might have certain company data they want to protect in a secure container. Knox Platform for Enterprise will be beneficial to them. But the great thing is now with the Knox suite, it includes Knox build. And I'll break down onto the next step what that means. So as I mentioned, the extended product lifecycle. So for example, when it comes to a retail market, you may want a particular handset to have a consistent fleet, but then it might be discontinued. But when it comes to Enterprise Edition, you have the notion of knowing that the device is available for the next 2 years. So if you want a consistent fleet, you can go back and say, actually, I want to buy the A40. It is still available. So for your security and maintenance releases, so we're staying ahead of the security threats. Now, in the past, we were great at probably updating devices, but then we weren't too quick on that. But when it comes to Samsung itself, we've improved when it comes to our mobile phone's own firmware. So we have Android One UI. The reason why we call it One UI is because, yes, it has the look and feel of a Samsung device, but we're sticking more towards the Google aspect of things. So we've now improved on how quick the device gets the update. So when a threat is obviously happening, you have the security of knowing that your device is going to be it's going to be patched up securely, but also knowing that you're staying ahead of the threats. For example, my device, we're in July. I got my July security patch firmware in early June. So it was staying ahead of any threats that were due to happen. Any changes, it will make sure that device is fully secured. Obviously, we have our Samsung Knox system built in, which is a hardware and security event-grade security on the devices itself. So you know when it comes to the Android platform, it is very secure, but also we are Gartner approved as well. Then the 3's enhanced support. So 3 enhanced support is a fantastic feature. For example, in business, obviously there's a wording, time is money. If you have a device that fails, you want to know that you do have the full support from Samsung themselves. So if a user has an issue with a device, they'll ring up Samsung, hi, I've got a problem with the phone or a tablet. We will then rectify that over the phone. If that fails, remotely connect to the device from wherever they are. If that fails, let us know where you are in the UK. We'll come at you direct, try and fix it on the spot. If we can't fix it on the spot, we will then make sure the device is replaced next day with brand new gold stock. And also, we'll make sure your old device is disposed of to the correct government standards. We'll make sure your new device is enrolled on the next platform and you're ready to go. So there's no disruptions. But the great thing with 3's enhanced support is now it includes the Knox base build. Now this is the key area which I'm going to elaborate on. So with the Knox base build, what that means is when you're buying an Enterprise Edition device, we got a lot of feedback in terms of why people weren't adapting a lot of the Knox features. Now the main case was they're not sure how to use certain elements of Knox, they're not sure where to start, they're not sure how it can be a benefit to them. So when somebody buys a Galaxy Enterprise Edition device, they'll be sent out a questionnaire in terms of what they want to do with the device, how they want the device to behave, what applications they want to push out. So what we're going to do now when you buy an Enterprise Edition device is create a base build for you. So what that means is you may want to install a particular application on there. You may want to create certain profiles. You may want to roll out a certain fleet. We will do that. But when it comes to the questionnaire itself, if the demand becomes a lot more higher in terms of it becomes more of a base build in terms of you want more policies added on there, you want more users, more organizations attached to it, that will be an additional charge in terms of service credit. That service credit can be purchased from Exertis themselves. So once the questionnaire has been filled out, we've got an idea of what they want from their device itself. We will then proceed to create that profile for them. Once we have created that profile for them, we will then push it out to a test device of their choice. Once we push it out to our test device, we will then speak to the IT admin saying, are you happy with the build we've created? Is it to your standards? Is it to what you want the device to do? If it is, we will then go on to the next step and push out the rest of the fleet in terms of enrollment. So we'll push out all the new devices they purchased with their profile they wanted to create. Once that's been created again, we will make sure a few further tests are done. Once that mobile fleet is up and running, then we'll do a sign-off, which means is we will then start to hand over the process from our end over to the IT admin so they can take over. But the great thing is they're now comfortable in using elements of Samsung Knox. So they don't have to take time out to learn how to do a certain thing. They don't have to take time out or disruption in terms of it's not doing as it should, it's not behaving as it should, they were in full notion knowing that we got the full support from the Samsung team itself, but also from the Knox team. Now, the Knox team is based in the UK. They're actually based in Leeds. I've actually visited them personally, and they are a fantastic bunch of team itself. Any issues I've actually personally had with Knox, they've always rectified it. So as I mentioned, the Knox-based build, so the Knox setup service is a key element from that. So as I mentioned, we will set up the Knox account for them as well. Knox manage base build to their preferences, set up Knox ePhoto, import the users and devices. The customer will sign off a test model, push out the Knox build to your fleet, and then hand over that process to the customer IT admin themselves, so they can take over that process. But the great thing is, if further down the line they do have any issues, they can still reach out to the Knox team again and say, look, I've started this rollout, it's doing great, but I just want a few elements, or I want to know a few things on how to do something. They are available to support for that as well. So, great range of devices. As I mentioned, we have now got the additional Galaxy Tab Active Pro, which is our rugged tablet, 10.1 inches. The great thing is with this is it's also MPOS ready. And then we have our batch of mobile phones, starting from the X-Cover 4S. The one particular device that's not on there is the Galaxy X-Cover Pro, which is the successor to the X-Cover 4S, which sits alongside the new Tab Active Pro. So it's our new rugged tablet and new rugged handset as well. And then we do the A40, A50, the S10 range, the Note 9 and the Note 10, but also the Galaxy S20 and the S20 Plus. In case that CEO wants the best of the best handset, wants to use it in terms of Samsung DeX, maybe they want to run a virtual Windows desktop, they can do that using Samsung DeX or run Cisco and VMware. So in summary, to break it down, so Galaxy Enterprise Edition, what, why, and how. So as I mentioned, more choice. We've got a batch of devices available, ready in terms of what spec you need, what you want the device to do, and in terms of price point. In terms of secure deploy and manage your fleet, so we've got the Knox Suite, which includes the Knox Platform Enterprise, the Knox Service plugin, the Knox Mobile Enrollment, Knox Manage, and ePhoto. Now bear in mind, when you buy an Enterprise Edition device, you get the Knox Suite free for 1 year. Any additional 2 to 3 years is an additional charge. Increased reliability. So extended product lifecycle, 3 years enhanced support, 4 year security maintenance releases, and more value. So when it comes to the Enterprise Edition device, you integrated the management of tools packaged together, and also the base build by Samsung themselves. So they will assist you to start off your new fleet or to new rollout. So that's enough from me. If there's any questions, feel free to reach out to me direct. Anything you're unsure of, or anything you want more of a breakdown into, again, I'm available for them as well.
Okay, if there's no questions at all for Mudassar, I'd just like to say thank you very much to you all for attending this session, and thank you, Mudassar, for presenting this Knox Suite configure. Brand new offering from Samsung. Really appreciate it, and you've taken the time to go through and build this for us. So thank you. I did have a couple of quick questions around the X-Cover Pro phone, the one that's been developed with the MPOS in conjunction with the tablet. What are some of the enhanced features of that? Because it's obviously quite a bit more expensive than the X-Cover 4S, for example. I just wondered if you could elaborate a little bit more on that for us.
Yeah, sure. So the X-Cover Pro, like you just said, it's MPOS ready. So we're kind of we're going up against, for example, the likes of maybe Honeywell and Zebra. Obviously, those devices are bespoke and configured for one purpose, and you may not be using all the features. But when it comes to the X-Cover Pro, because it's MPOS ready, it's open to different elements. So, for example, we've partnered up with iZettle. So with iZettle, you have two options. You can either have a single device, which is like a standard kiosk mode, where you can have your own. For example, if you've got a fruit and veg company, you can create your little platform on there, but also with the device you can take payments using card, or you can go down the separate route where you can have a separate chip and pin card reader, which then will be attached to the back of the device using a third-party case, and then you could have a mobile MPOS system. So, for example, a small business owner, maybe they're going from door to door and they're taking payments. They still have the options of 2 elements, so they can either have a chip and pin reader, or they can have touch and go tap on the device itself.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. If there's no more questions at all, if there is any questions, please feel free to reach out, or we'll close the session in a minute or two.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we're done. Thank you very much for that, Marcel. I really appreciate it today, and thank you all attendees for taking the time out of your diaries today. We do have stock of both of those products available, so and we're more than happy to support any requests or any queries or questions you may have from an Exertis perspective and a Samsung perspective. Thank you all.
Thank you.